Hi guys! So as I mentioned in my last video, I just finished my first year of university. So I thought I'd make a video just to share my experience of it all and what it was like for me. Some of you may have just finished your A-levels and are preparing for uni. Some of you may be thinking about whether or not you want to go to uni, and some of you may have just finished first year, already been through it, and just want to see if your experience was similar to mine. Whatever reason you're here, I'm just going to give you a hopefully brief summary of what first year was like for me. So a bit of background info. I am studying biochemistry. My A-levels I took biology, chemistry, psychology and Spanish. So before I'd even started looking for universities, I already knew that I wanted to be on a campus uni instead of just sort of a city building, because it's just like being in your own little village. I wanted to be outside of London but not too far out, so I could be away from home and explore a new place, but also be able to come back home easily. After getting all 5 of my offers, I went to applicant days for all the unis I applied to. Those are like open days but for offer holders, but I only went to 3 out of 5 of them because the other 2 were quite far away, so getting to them would have been quite expensive, and I could have spent that money on like food and makeup, so yeah. Then I selected my firm and insurance unis around late April, and then I had exams soon after. I didn't think about uni at all during exams because I didn't want to get too distracted or hype myself up in case I failed my A-levels, which would really suck. And then as soon as I finished my exams, I started to properly prepare for uni. I made a shopping list with things that I'd need, things like bedding, decorations, kitchen appliances, toiletries, stationery, yeah, stuff like that. But I forgot to think about food, so I arrived to uni with nothing to put in my fridges and stuff. But I went shopping the next day, so it was fine. I just survived the first day on like a sandwich and a drink. But so yeah, arrive with food or do shopping as soon as you get there. But I arrived late at night, so I couldn't really go to the supermarket. I read lots of articles and forums. My favourite websites to look at were Student Room, Student Beans and Save a Student. I will post some links in the description below along with some specific pages that I found really helpful. I also watched a few videos like you're doing right now, hey, I'm a loser, of people giving their experiences and stories, and doing that was really good because it gave me a more realistic view of uni and I knew sort of what to expect more or less, as well as some do's and don'ts. I also applied for an NUS card and uni days, which are like some student discount things. They got me 10 to 20% off on most stores, so that's always a bonus benefit of being a uni student. I arrived around mid-September. It was really nice because my mum and my dad dropped me along with my brother and sister. Well, one of my brothers, one of my sisters. And it was just really nice seeing them together because they divorced when I was quite young, so it was like my first time seeing them together in years, and they just came together to bring me into uni, and it was nice. They helped me carry my stuff into my room. I was on the 2nd floor of a townhouse and there were no stairs, so yeah, it was a mission and a half. Stayed with me for a bit and then they went home soon after. And then after they went, I went down to the kitchen to go meet my flatmates. It was really awkward at first because I was the second to last person to arrive, so they'd already started talking by the time I got there. And I was kind of asking questions that they already spoke about before, and it was just, I just remember thinking to myself, oh my god, I'm gonna hate it here. These people aren't like me at all. I was the only black one there, first of all, and I just hadn't seen many black people at the start of uni. I was just like, oh my god, like, where are the brothers and the sisters at? And then as the term went on, they all came out of hiding and I saw some more. So yeah, I guess I was too quick to judge. But I'm not saying that like race matters, but it's just like, it's just one of the ways that you can relate to a person. It's like finding someone else who's into K-pop or something. You know, just one of the ways that I feel comfortable, especially because I came from South London, like a super diverse place, and it was just a lot more different at uni. I just felt so alone. Like, I remember calling my best friend on the first night and I literally just had a massive breakdown and I wanted to go home. I just really hated it. But things got better once I met people on my course, which when you think about it makes sense because you pick the same subjects, so you must have some common interests. Both my parents would call me every day for the first 2 weeks, maybe even a month, just to make sure that I was okay, and it was really sweet of them. Freshers week was full of new people, getting lost around campus a lot of alcohol, which was kind of awkward because I don't drink, so yeah, I had to keep explaining to people why. I didn't do freshers, as in I didn't go clubbing every night. I preferred sort of non-drinking related events like quizzes and picnics, and they're really nice because you can actually talk to people and get to know each other rather than trying to scream over the music in the club. I made a few friends that way, but not enough to stop me from feeling really lonely. I guess it's because we didn't really hang out. We'd sort of just walk past each other on campus and be like, hey, and go about our day. I did do one night during freshers though, after I met a few people, but I did not like it at all. It was just really weird for me and I absolutely hated it. But once I made like a lot of friends and I had like a little squad going on, we did a few nights out together and I loved it, and then I started going out a lot towards the end of the year, like a lot. One night stands are also quite a common thing. I've never partaken in one myself, but some of my friends have, and you know, whatever floats your boat. Do you, boo-boo? Freshers flu is real. I don't know why it's a thing. It was so bad that people would literally be coughing during lectures. I was actually one of the last few people to get it because I didn't go clubbing during freshers. So, you know, I wasn't pushed against so I wasn't like mushed against sweaty bodies or anything like that. I'd say it lasted about a week or two for me, but I think it took about a month till like everyone was like not ill. Living on campus is really different to living at home. First of all, there's the freedom you get because there's no parents there, so no one can tell you you're eating too much cake, stop from coming back home at 3 AM. I became more adventurous with cooking because obviously I was cooking for myself since I was in self-catered hall. Since I was in self-catered halls, so I didn't, you know, rely on anyone to cook for me. It's obviously very inconvenient because you live really close to your lecture theatres. For me it was about a 10 to 15 minute walk to most places. It's also very social. It's a lot easier to meet people when you're all on the same campus. I knew a few people who lived at home and they said that they found it quite hard to make friends at first because, you know, most of the fun stuff happens at night, by which time they would have all gone home. So I think if you can, definitely live on campus in first year. Not to say that it's impossible to make friends, but it's just, there's just less opportunity to if you go home early. There are downsides to living on campus though. It's very expensive. You could get put in a flat with people you don't really like. I liked my flatmates, but they were just really messy. So my kitchen was like always a mess. And they'd eat my food sometimes, which I've moved out like exactly a month ago, but I'm still trying to get over it. Almost everyone feels homesick at first, which is normal. I think I only spent 2 weekends on campus. But then after a few months of being at uni, I'd say about 2 or 3, you just suddenly don't want to go home anymore because you just love where you are so much. So if you're feeling homesick, it will definitely get better. Lectures are very different from class. They usually consist of a smart old person talking at you for 1 to 2 hours straight while you just rapidly take notes and try and keep up with their speed. I have so many gaps in my notes from times that lecturers I'm talking way too fast. I have so many gaps in my notes from times that lecturers have just spoken way too fast for me to process and write at the same time. But usually there'll be time to ask questions in the end, or you could just email them, so don't worry, it's not the end of the world if you miss anything. All my lectures were uploaded onto this site called Blackboard, which is like this sort of database where lecturers can upload Word documents, PowerPoints, PDFs, and the best thing ever, audio. Not all lectures record audio, but those who do are just absolute godsends. We also get set assignments on that site, and that's also where we submit. A lot of other unis do this. Some unis have a different system or a different name for it, but hopefully every uni does because that's really, really helpful. Class sizes are massive, especially during first year. Some of my largest lectures had about 350 to 400 people, and coming from sixth form where my biggest class had like 12 people, it was just such a drastic change for me. The staff student ratio was quite big, so lecturers didn't really know students personally. Some knew my name, but it helped that I was a course rep, so I went to a lot of staff meetings. When you get set assignments, lecturers don't really chase you up about it the way you may have been previously. So if you forget to turn something in, well, that's your own business. You don't get attention or anything, which is always great, but you do get marks deducted from your grade. For me, it was 10% off every day. So say for example, you submitted a lab report and you got 80%, but you submitted it 2 days late, you would get 20% taken off, which means that you get 60% for that lab report. So you might as well just always submit on time, because the time that you spend trying to finish it, like add in that last paragraph, you would have lost anyway, because the net effect would just be like even less than what you spent time doing. But all in all, first year was a lot more chill compared to A-level, which is jam-packed, intense and stressful. Because at uni they understand that you actually have a life outside of education, so you have things like long periods to complete assignments and less hours per week of lectures. We also have seminars, tutorials and practicals, which are more like class. So yeah, there are different ways of teaching at uni, it's not just lectures. Most of the money I lived on came from student finance, which is basically government funding in the form of loans and grants, for those who don't know. I applied a bit late, so my money did come a bit late. So my dad supported me for the first month or so shout out to you, Dad. But when my student finance finally did drop, it was like my first time handling a large amount of money, so it was a bit overwhelming at first, but I was really careful with how I spent it anyway. But there were people who would spend about £500 during Freshers Week. So I guess another advantage of not drinking is that you save money. So yay, we're not drinking. First year was hella dramatic for me. Like, a lot of things happened. I got out of quite a long-term relationship, but it had nothing to do with distance. So for those of you who are in long-distance relationships, or will be when you get to uni, don't worry, because it's usually not distance that breaks up relationships. Although I do know 3 people who broke up because of distance, but across countries rather than cities, so I guess it's a bit more understandable, but still unfortunate. I also fell out with one of my closest friends that I made during the year, which sucked. All these things happened to me during like really stressful times, like when I had a lot of deadlines or exams, so I don't know if it's some kind of weird stroke of bad luck or something. I even argued with a friend the night before a morning exam. It threw me off a bit because the time I could have spent on revising was just spent being sad and angry and just having lots of really pointless arguments, and it was all just a mess. I just became quite introverted. I didn't really, I wouldn't reply to texts for days because sometimes I just didn't want to talk to anyone and I just hated the world. I say this with a smile on my face. And also it just allowed me to spend a lot more time on myself and just, give myself the attention that I needed and didn't realise. But people didn't really understand that and they'd accuse me of hating them, but really I just didn't check my phone for a day or 5. But being with friends and doing lots of fun stuff like clubbing, eating out at restaurants, or just staying in and watching movies helped me a lot. So I'm really thankful that I made some good friends who always looked out for me. So shout out to the squad, even though I kind of hate you guys, but I love you. Most people I knew had 4 exams, 2, sometimes none, but I had 8. It was hell, but most of them were multiple choice, so I guess I can't complain too much. They were still quite difficult though, because obviously it's uni level knowledge, but it's very easy to wing your way through it if you didn't revise, so yeah. Just bear in mind that not every first year exam is going to be for multiple choice. It depends on the uni you're at and the course you're doing, so yeah, don't get your hopes up too high. Overall, I'd say first year was a good year. It's definitely a roller coaster. It was a test of my patience. I'm running out of footage. Bye. Living on my own just gave me a chance to get to know myself a lot more and just overall reach a good point mentally. I really enjoy my degree and I'm looking forward to doing another 2 or 3 years of it. I regret not getting a job at the start of uni. Although I finished first term with a lot of money, it went downhill towards the end and student loans aren't enough to pay both your rent and live comfortably at the same time. I regret not being social from the start. It took me a while because I kind of alienated myself and had myself convinced that I wasn't going to make friends, so I think that's what stopped me from putting myself out there. I regret not joining societies. I don't know why I didn't join any societies. I was too lazy to get out of bed. So yeah, that was my first year of university. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave comments if you have any questions. Maybe I might have missed out something in the video that you wanted to know, so feel free to ask me and I'll be more than happy to answer. Also, if you've already been through first year, you can also leave some comments if your experiences were similar or different to mine. I'd like to hear your stories too, and subscribe for more. Thank you very much for watching, and for those of you who are starting uni soon, good luck, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!